Hello, Braid Masters. Welcome, welcome. Going live with you today, and just can't wait to share this conversation with you. And we're going to talk about, do you struggle to make decisions that move you forward? Like, are you one that gets into confusion and then you don't make a decision, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to take action on it? Or maybe you sit on the fence too long about things, etc. And so I'm going to share with you kind of a tool that I use. I actually shared this with some of my private clients yesterday, and it's something I keep in the back of my mind since I figured it out probably a couple of years ago, and it really helps me get into action and just kind of keep in motion. So, hey Abby, hello, welcome. So glad you've caught the live. I'm so excited you're here. And so the thing that the reason that I'm offering this tool and this idea is that I see a lot of people struggle to move quickly. They get into confusion and then they don't make a decision about maybe it's whether they should do something in their business or whether they should hire a coach or whether they should go left versus right, whatever it is, right? And we paralyze ourselves in some way and we don't keep moving. And when we're looking at our business from a strategic standpoint, even more so, sometimes we go into overload and too much information and not sure what to do with all of it. And one of the things I work with my clients on is making sure that their marketing mix is moving forward consistently and frequently, and that there's simultaneously doing different things in their marketing in order to pump up their leads and their client generation, right? Lead generation. And so that's where it really is useful. I call it the input versus impact quadrant. And it's really useful regardless of the decision. And sometimes you can look at it even inside of your personal life, and also from a place of your business, of course. So I trust that you'll find some value in this, and I would love to know if you're here, where you're calling in from, where you're watching from. So tell me if you are online. A couple of you are live with me, so would love to know what's up and where you're calling in from. And also, if this resonates with you, and if you're on the replay, please remember to hit #replay, because I love you too. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. I have never shared screen here, so let me see how to do it. Where did it go? Did it disappear? Somebody tell me how to share screen. Okay, maybe it's not going to let me. I don't know. Settings. Nope. Interactive. Nope. I thought I just saw share screen. Save. How do I share screen? All the way from Israel. That is correct. Hey, Jennifer. How are you? Oh, my gosh. Hey, Deborah. Just hung out with you for an hour and a half. Let's see. Okay. Minneapolis. Hey, Karen. So glad you made it. You made it. I don't know how to share screen, guys. How do I share screen? I guess you have to do it at the beginning before you hit live, because I definitely saw a button. How do I do this? My apologies. And if anybody knows how to do share screen on a Facebook Live, that would be very helpful. Otherwise, let me see if I can print this out and just hold it up. I just want you guys to see this thing. So print. I'm literally going to put it on a piece of paper. There we go. Print. Okay. We're going to do it old school. We used to be able to share screen, but couldn't do it. So let's see if it's going to come out my later. Yeah, and so this tool, like I said, has been super, super helpful in my life, and it truly helps me get unstuck, right? And that's my intention for you today, is just to share this with you and see how you are going to move forward throughout the week. You've got some decisions, you've got some actions, you've got some goals that you have this week. And so how do you play with this in order to get things done more effectively? All right, so old school, here we go. This is the picture. Let's see, can you see it? There we go. I'm going to move back. Okay, how funny. Let's do this. All right, impact versus input. So what I want you to see is on the like x-axis, I don't know if it's X or Y, you know what I mean. Impact over here is 0 to 10, and then at the bottom is input, 0 to 10. And so first of all, what does impact mean? So hey, if you guys are watching this, you might want to just take a quick screenshot so that you have a picture of it. Yeah, loving the old school. Okay, so let me explain what impact means. First of all, impact is basically what is the outcome that you're looking to make, and it could be more clients, it could be brand awareness, it could be visibility, it could be in your personal life, it could be release more weight, it could be, which is one of mine, I'm on a weight release process. It could be spend more time, have dates with my husband. I mean, like, what's the impact, right? What's the outcome? And on a 0 to 10 of this activity gets me closer to that, then you start to rate that impact level. And then input could be how much time, money, resources, energy, all of that you have to input in order to have the impact. So hold on, I'm sorry, I slid down. Okay, and something popped up. All right, so take a screenshot if you have, because my arms are getting tired. I'm like holding this sucker up. So take a screenshot. Okay, hopefully you've got a picture of it. So basically, the quadrants are 1, 2, 3, 4, and what that does is show you a priority of what you should do first, and then you've got to break it into your thinking around it needs to be around, is it short term or long term, and the timing of things, right? But let's just keep it really simple. The bottom line is, so if you guys are thinking of something that you're stuck around, I would love to hear some examples so I can actually speak directly to a challenge that you may actually have. So share with me something, even if it's simple, or an example of something you've been stuck in, or a decision you haven't figured out yet in your business particularly. And then I can use that as how to play with this tool. And so the impact number, if there is a high impact and a low input, that should be priority number 1. If it is a high impact and a high input, right? Lots of impact, but also maybe a lot of input, right? A lot of time, energy, money, whatever. That would be a 2 because we want the highest impact. However, it's not going to be the priority short term. It may be more of a long term, possibly. Then a 3, right, on the quadrant is a low impact, low input. So it's not going to take much for you to make it happen, but it may not have the biggest impact out of all of it, right? Out of everything you're trying to do. So it's a low impact and a low input, and that's a number 3 priority. And then a 4 priority is low impact, high input. Like, why would we spend all of our time and energy in something really high input and it's not going to give us the impact that we're looking for, or the outcome that we're looking for? And so we still may do those things. There may be things in our business that are lower impact, higher input. For example, being on social media for me, meaning being active, is a very indirect market. I call it indirect. What I mean is it's about relationship, it's about brand awareness, it's about visibility, and sometimes the impact is a little bit slower. Not that it's non-existent, it clearly has a result, but it may be slower than another strategy. So if you were comparing 2 strategies, now for any of you that know me, I'm all about visibility, all about being as fast to the path of cash and clients as we can be. And what I know, especially for those of you in some of my programs, is, for instance, speaking and networking, speaking very much so, is one of the fastest paths and can give you very high impact in basically a low input situation, versus social media, and spending all day on social media can be a little more high input because it's a lot of time and space, even if you delegate it, right? Even if it's, because that's money and for your team, and it has a lower impact. Again, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that it has no impact. It's just in comparison, and that's what happens, I think, is when we're trying to make decisions, we're not sure what to do first, or we're not sure what should be implemented. And obviously this is very simplified, okay? And so I don't want you to think that what you're doing is not important or that you shouldn't be doing it or whatever. But when you're stuck and you're not moving forward or not making a decision, you're not moving forward, bottom line. So, hey, Kayla, how are you? So if you are in a position where you're trying to make a decision about a strategy or something you want to do in your business, and you want to make sure that your highest priority of impact, maybe it's money, maybe it's clients, which is usually what I hear, then you want to make sure that you're doing things that are low input that are going to get you the highest impact. And for me, speaking and getting yourself out there really quickly in front of a big audience, even if it's 20 people, right? That relationship, that barrier to relationship is a lot lower than being on social media, for instance. And doesn't mean that we don't have a marketing mix that includes social media. But what I notice is some people are spending so much time in high input, low impact strategies. They're not adding high impact strategies that have low input, if that makes sense. I know it can get a little wordy and a little confusing. That's why I want to make sure that you had a picture of it. So for anybody joining new, this is what I'm talking about. So take a screenshot. Right? Impact versus input. Measure your ideas, make easier decisions. That's what this sucker's all about. Okay? So if you're here live, let's see. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Please share. I'm a fan of anything that means less time on social media. Yes, Instagram idiot, hashtag. I love it. Yeah, and of course there are ways to be on social media or other strategies in our business that we could minimize the input, meaning sometimes it is delegation, sometimes it is also tools. There are so many softwares out there that would make life easier, right, and less input. So all that can be looked at in the scope of making these decisions, and you of course want to know what your ultimate impact is that you're trying to make, and make these decisions accordingly. And so this also brought up, I was actually, like I said, working on this with my private clients yesterday, and it was just, I think it came up in mainly a question somebody had, like, should I do this, right? The decisions, right? Should I, I think it was you, Deborah, that said, that you were trying to decide if you should go to this conference that just kind of popped up on your calendar, but you had blocked your time for some other activities in your business that was related to your sales process and your cash flow and things like that, something. And so this just gives you an example of when we're stuck in, should I do this or not? Should I attend or should I make this happen or whatever? And we all have multiple things on our plate at any given moment. Then we can take the ideas and plug them in and plot them on this quadrant. And so if you have high impact, low input things happening for the sake of visibility and marketing your business, because you know how important marketing is, it leads to sales, it leads to the, clients, then, and you have those things happening on your calendar, but this extra thing shows up, then you can just start to decide, okay, how does this plug in? And should I, actually attend this event, or is it going to lead me towards what I want and what I need in my business? And so that was what we were talking about was, is this necessary right now? And I think she had decided not to attend. However, she could see that on her calendar, she had other things already scheduled that was handling the outcome, right? The input or the impact that she was looking for, called visibility. So it's not like she needed to add one more thing to her plate. These other priorities were ahead of it, right? Getting her sales process in place and her cash flow, looked at or whatever. So let me know if this is helping you, because I think people get so stuck in what should I do, and they're not looking at it from a place of, number one, a strategic place, and looking at it from a place of impact versus how much input you're going to have to put in. And so then we're kind of winging it, right? We're just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall. And so the other idea, the other example I'll share with you was, and it was part of a decision. Every year I'm looking at what's the next year ahead. What's my next big initiative for the next year? And last year in 2017, I had to make a decision about, am I going to do another 3-day event? I did a 3-day event in 2016 and 2017. Some of you may have been there, yay. And then I had to make another decision. After each one, you have to make the decision, are you going to do it again? Because you got to start promoting it and getting ready for it. And so I took this quadrant thing, this input versus impact, is always in the back of my mind. It's like autopilot now. And I was like, okay, so it has a lot of input, guys. You know, doing a 3-day event costs multi-5 figures. And it's a lot of time. It's a lot of team effort. It's a lot of promotion. Like, there's a lot of input, and it has a very big impact. And so when I have high input, high impact, right, and number 2 in the quadrant, I have to look at it from a place of how does it fit into my long game for the next year. It's not a short-term, process. So it would be a long game process. And I saw that I wanted to do my business a little differently. So I was weighing it against my other decisions about the next year. And so I wanted to step into my next year and do things more online and invest money, time, and energy and team and all of the input in building my course, which I've done, right? The Brave Speaker Program, which is all about visibility and sales and all of that. And I knew that was on my plan as well. And then I knew that, excuse me, I was going to have to put some input into online advertising and money and time and learning and all of that as well. And so when I looked at that decision called, am I going to do another 3-day event? It's a big decision. It has a lot of input. And so then I looked at my other decision called, this is what I want to create into the next year. So how does it plot? How does it plot against this? And so the event landed in number 2. And then the other decision called more advertising and things like that. Now both of them are risk. Both of them, when I'm new to it, I have to kind of take the risk, be the brave master, right? And step into it, even though I don't necessarily know all the facts or know exactly how the impact is going to be or how it's going to turn out. And so, however, I see examples, I know people, and I have coaches that are surrounding me going, yes, this is what the potential impact is for you. So I'm listening to strategic mentorship also. And that's what I offer my clients is like, well, let's look at this as strategic as possible. And then we're going to have to just jump out there and test it and tweak it. And so when I looked at my decision about going online with my course, that had a 1. It was a high impact is the potential and the intention around it. And it had a little bit lower impact input. So it's a higher impact, lower input. I know the I's get confusing. I get tongue-tied. But the lower input than the 3-day event. And it may still cost me the same, and it may still result in the same money, but but it's also a different energy input, team input, like all those things. So in comparison. And so I decided on number 1. And I set aside the number 2 called a 3-day event, and I am absolutely in the throes of and I'm loving it, and the impact is actually much bigger with a lower input. The profit margin is way bigger for me right now, and so that's an example of how I use this, and it really helps me make decisions in my business from a CEO level and being able to look at my life, look at my business, and see what is really going to create the biggest impact for the lowest input, because I'm always going to do those first, if at all possible. And I'm going to sprinkle in the 2s and the 3s and the 4s based on how well I'm doing and how much cash flow I have coming in. And sometimes you've got to make decisions that simplify your business and focus in on the fastest path to cash. It's like look at your challenges and decide if this is my biggest challenge, therefore the biggest impact that I'm looking for, cash and clients is what I hear a lot of, then we've got to find the number 1s in this quadrant. Like, what is the highest impact for the lowest input? And I'm going to tell you, if you guys are on here and you are struggling with cash or clients, speaking and getting seen face to face is one of the fastest paths to cash. I proved it over the last 5 years, like for myself included, and clients as well. And that's why I built the whole program around it, right? So if you want more information about that, please give me a note, send me yes, more information. But the point of that is you've got to look at what strategy, what marketing strategy, what sales process or activity can I use in my business that's going to give me a 1 on the quadrant, right? And then you can start to implement number 2s, and then you can implement 3 and 4 when you really have a machine that's working and solving the bigger problems. So that's my message for you today. Please let me know if this was useful or how helpful it was. And how are you going to make a decision about your business or life using this? Like what are you seeing? And if you have questions, because I know this is possibly a new concept, then don't hesitate. Leave a comment here and I'll come back to it and answer as much as I can for you about it. So again, input versus impact is always the question I ask myself when I'm looking at decisions of how I use my time, my money, my energy, and anything that I have to, my resources, my team, etc. And so that's the availability here. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here live. And if you're on the replay, hit #replay and leave your thoughts and comments and let me know how this is helping. And then I will be back again soon with another conversation to move your business forward and get you closer and closer to those 6-figure milestones and beyond, right? Wherever you are. So thank you, and I will talk to you guys soon. And you're welcome, Karen. I trust that was useful. Thanks for being live and putting it on your calendar. So I do try to do these every Wednesday. Sometimes my calendar doesn't allow for Wednesdays, but I'll let you know and give you heads up when the next lives come in if I can at all. Give you a heads up so you can put it on your calendar. So thanks for being here, and I will talk to you soon. Go be brave today, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.